Hello everybody, welcome back to another video on the channel, and in today's video I want to talk about KingsIsle's Golden Goose, Golden Child, and that is going to be the Death School in Wizard101. Now in case you guys don't know, Death is a top 3 school in terms of popularity. I believe Storm and Death are the two popular schools. So I'm going to break down the Death School and why it is really good. We will start off with PvP since my channel is more predicated towards advanced content, but if you want to skip ahead to PvE or raids or anything like that, I will have timestamps for y'all. So Death in PvP, there basically is nothing this school does not have. They have basically everything in the game, kind of like balanced in a way, how balanced is supposed to be the control school and have everything. Death also basically literally has everything. Let's talk about Death stats. Death stats are basically the best in the game compared to any other school, and with the game getting more and more balanced, schools that have every stat like the Death School are going to become more apparent of issues. Death has health unlike other schools. Death has damage unlike other schools. Death has resist like any other school, and I don't even have the meta set on right now, guys. You would have all this health, all this damage with 12 more resist, better dual school accuracy, this crit block, and that pierce with 4p shad and perfect pips. So essentially you have health, resist, damage, accuracy, crit, block, and pierce. No other schools get things like this. Like if you compare this to a school like, I don't know, Fire or Storm, they actually have trade-offs, right? Storm has the same damage as Death practically in advanced mode, but they have 3,000 less health and like 30 less resist and hardly any accuracy, and they have way worse crit because they have to give up stats to get that accuracy. Also, comparatively, Death has way more pierce than a Storm as well. As for cards, Death has, like I said, everything, and they're all at like the perfect pip cost. Ghoul is essentially a 2-pip catch of the day on a school that doesn't really have to give up anything. Dream Golem is a new spell that hits and puts 2 chromatic weaknesses on the opponent, which is an insane net tempo positive. Monster Mash is now an aura clear, which basically hits and stuns the opponent. Reader is still the best shad in the game. It nukes the opponent and puts on 2 chromatic 35%, which is so powerful that you can't really hit through it. Banshee got nerfed. This used to be the most broken card in the game, but it's reasonable now. Vampire hits and stuns you for 2 rounds as well, and it also drains. Wraith, obviously the drain is extremely broken right now because of the amount of value you get on it. The math checks out to be a little under Storm damage per pip and actually above Fire's damage per pip, even though Death has, again, all 4 of the stats we talked about. So you kind of run into an area where Death is essentially just way better than Fire because they have way more health and way better stats, but they have more damage per pip when they actually Wraith. As for bottom path Wraith, it's also insane because it hits and stuns for 2 rounds as well. And all the Arc 2 spellments with Scarecrow and Skeletal Dragon rework and Dr. Bon are all really good. The only bad card Death really got is Avenging Fossil, and even then they buffed it by 300 damage from test round to live round. So you guys kind of see how this school becomes so broken. They basically have literally everything. And I'm not even talking about TC. They have a better 4-pip. Poison is better than anything a Fire can do. Black Widow is as well. Skeletal Dragon is pretty decent. TC Wraith as well, like I said, is insane. It is literally about like Storm damage per pip. And then on top of all that, you also have the gambits that Death has. Death has a shield gambit, which are basically the most broken gambits in the game, and they've been this way for quite some time. And they also have Death Scion, which is a relatively easy gambit set up for an insane amount of value because it's a drain. So that did turn into a little bit of a death rant, but I'm just trying to explain to you guys everything that's literally broken about the school and help you understand it. Next up, let's talk about raids. Now, raids, Death has been really good. It used to be the best cosplay school to do like Dorm or Dire, I think it was called, but they actually nerfed that recently. You can still run, I think, Dire on like a Toxtress team. I've seen that in the Roaring Raptors quite a bit, actually. So if you have a Death, it's honestly not terrible to raid with. It's a little bit niche now. The best schools to raid with are Fire and Storm now, but as a Death, if you are running like the Roaring Raptor strat, for example, you could run like a Fire support for your Toxa. The school was hands down the best before they nerfed cosplay, but now it is significantly worse. But like I said, you can at least do a couple of rolls within the raid and still get a decent bit of value on the death. So I guess we might as well get started with the Death School library in PvE. You got Dark Pact, which is really good. It buffs your next 2 spells. It used to only buff 1 spell, and now it buffs 2, which is really good. So like you could like Dark Pact a Storm, have them Stormlord, right? And then their Tempest is buffed for the next turn as well. So this card is really good for PvE. Feint is like the best card in the game in terms of PvE as well. Plagues, whether it's Fee Plague or Plague itself, are incredibly powerful as well. You have some decent AoEs like Ship of Fools, Deer Knight, Scarecrow. Bad Juju also is a really great support and jading card, as well as Beguile. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, which is essentially spells like Scarecrow. Now, I'm not starting to nerf any of these spells in this video, guys. Maybe in PvP, but in PvE, no, not at all. This card essentially is above fire damage per pip when you actually do the math out. I believe the damage per pip is 113. A storm's damage per pip is 125, and a fire's damage per pip is about 100. So you kind of see the issue with this. Now, when you add enchants into there and buff stacking like Epic, you know, Feint, Sharpened Blades, that kind of thing. Obviously, the bigger the number gets, I mean, we all know easy math and multiplication. You kind of see where death becomes a menace, and in PvE, it is incredibly powerful because you don't really need a team. You can solo a lot of things. So you gotta think about it, right? On a death, you're still technically doing above your damage per pip if you're only scarecrowing 1 person in PvE. Now, when there's 2, 3, and 4 people, right, that value gets multiplied because obviously you're draining from multiple sources at once, which means you get way more health back. There might be a couple of fights in the game where you literally can't solo, like it's too much. But death is easily the best school you're going to want to play if you want to solo. And if you're looking for a school to be very versatile as well, in terms of like raiding PvP, jading in PvE, soloing, team play, that kind of thing, death basically checks all the boxes. If I had to pick one thing death is like the worst at in this video, it'd probably be the raid. But yeah, that's everything I got for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you made it this far, leave a like and a sub, and let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? I'm looking forward to read them in the comments. And yeah, thank you for watching. Take care, y'all.